Yet another extraordinary day in British politics. The Labour Party divided, relying on lawyers to help determine whether the leader can stand in a leadership election.
I'm delighted to say the Labour Party National Executive has decided that an incumbent is automatically on the ballot paper, so I'm on the ballot paper.
But the divisions are deep. It's alleged that at one point, as the party's National Executive Committee deliberated, Mr Corbyn was asked to leave the room and refused to go. And the fight in the party saw a brick thrown through the window of Angela Eagle's constituency office. We'll ask Angela Eagle whether a split is now inevitable. As the ceremonial removal van enters Downing Street, the Conservatives say farewell to their leader. We'll ask where it all went wrong.
Its biggest error was winning the 2015 general election, because had it still been a coalition, then of course the referendum, I suspect, would never have been allowed by the Liberal Democrats.
Also tonight,
Justice for Michael Brown! Justice for Michael Brown! Justice for Michael Brown!
the black Americans who are arming themselves with guns to protect themselves from the police.
Down that road leads war, surely.
We are at war.
Yeah, we're already at war. We already have casualties of war.
When the Civil War was fought, did the North go to war without guns to face the South? Don't the battlefield need to be even?
Hello. A champion of the radical left, a man who challenges conventional politics for months. He fights hard, infuriates his opponents and inspires a new band of supporters. But finally, he concedes his campaign is not going to get him into power, and he offers support to the woman challenging him, one who represents the mainstream. It happened today, but not here. It was in the US, where Bernie Sanders endorsed Hillary Clinton. For the Labour Party, in contrast, the split between the radical left and establishment left leaves the party in the grimmest of predicaments. It is bitter. We knew there'd be a leadership election, and now we know Jeremy Corbyn will be on the ballot after a long National Executive Committee meeting this afternoon. Our political editor Nick Watt is here. Nick, it was the mother of all NEC meetings.
Well, this is really one of the big moments in Labour's post-war history. Jeremy Corbyn will now, he's lost 80% of the support of his PLP Labour MPs, but he will now definitely be on the ballot for that leadership contest. And what is significant about this is that the official Labour machinery had some legal advice which said he should be treated like any other candidate, but no, he's automatically on the ballot. And when I caught up with Jeremy Corbyn after that meeting, he was absolutely delighted. This is our exchange.
Oh, thank you. It was fantastic.
Is that a really historic day, Jeremy?
It's very... Yes, it is an historic day, but it's actually not about me. It's about people. It's about political engagement and political involvement. And our campaign is going to be about bringing people into active politics. That's what I'm about. Thank you very much.
Power is with the membership.
The members have elected me 10 months ago. We now, it looks like, having another election. That's fine. Let's take part in that debate and discussion. I'm looking forward to it. It will be done with respect, it will be done with decency, and it will be done with honour. Thank you.
He certainly did seem very happy, and perhaps feistier than we've seen him for quite a few months. And look, it feels like a sort of life or death faction for both, life or death struggle for both factions in the party, Nick. Let's just think about the left. Why is it so important, this issue that we had today for the left?
It was make or break for the left. Their view is if Jeremy Corbyn was not automatically on the ballot paper, they could not be sure that they would get the 51 nominations to get him on. Now, I understand that around 10 days ago, Jeremy Corbyn was thinking of throwing in the towel, but his key allies, John McDonnell, the Shadow Chancellor, and his strategy chief, Seamus Milne, said, do not do that, because there's nobody else with your appeal. And that's why Seamus Milne looked very happy when I briefly caught up with him. This is our brief exchange. Good day, Seamus.
Hi, how are you? Very good to see you.
Is that quite a historic victory?
You've been interviewed for Newsnight. Thank you. Thank you. Don't worry about that.
OK. It wasn't a particularly revealing exchange, let's be honest, Nick. OK, so the Labour plotters, the anti-Corbyn people, they lost the big issue. Corbyn is in the ballot, if you like. But there was some better news for them.
Yes, they're saying it's game on and that Jeremy Corbyn is beatable because the rules will be very different. If you're a full-time member, you can only vote if you signed up by February. So all those people who've signed up since the referendum, 120,000 of them, 80% are supposedly Corbyn supporters, they can't vote. If you're the so-called registered supporter, this time you have to pay £25, not £3, and there's a brief window, 18th and 19th of July, for you to sign up. The idea is to create a very different contest to last year when you could pay just £3 and you could sign up right on the eve of ballot. But some Labour Party sources close to Jeremy Corbyn, they are saying this sounds like the ballot is being rigged and they want to try and challenge these very strict rules at the next meeting of the NEC.
I mean, frankly, Nick, it's so bitter, so unpleasant. The lawyers are having to pore over the words in order to get interpretations of what the rules are. One might take the view they're beyond the point at which a split is inevitable.
There is a feeling that if Angela Eagle or if it's Owen Smith is the sort of the unity candidate to take on Jeremy Corbyn, if they don't defeat him, you do have this feeling at the very least that you may get a sort of a unilateral declaration of independence by the Parliamentary Labour Party. Don't forget 176 of the 231 voted against him and they could become the official opposition. Whether they are then able to set up a party in the country without the support of the official trade union movement, difficult one.
Nick, thanks very much. Well, who knows what is going on at the local level? My Newsnight colleagues, Jake Morris and Hannah Barnes, have been ringing around today to local Labour councillors representing a dozen areas. It's not a poll, obviously, not scientific. But what those councillors have been telling us is that party membership has gone up considerably in the last year and that there has been a surge since the referendum result. Who are these new members? Well, the majority of people we spoke to gave us the impression that they thought the latest people to join the party were in the pro-Corbyn camp. If Corbyn's on the ballot, he'll win, said one. And there will be a split in the party. I don't see how the Parliamentary Labour Party can continue. They continue. Most striking for the people we spoke to were the views on the conduct of politics in the party. I've been a member since the 1990s and have never known an atmosphere like this. It feels like the militant tendency of the 1980s, said one. It is utterly depressing. The current situation is farcical, said another. Those who are critical of Corbyn are too frightened to speak, said one. Well, one geographic area where the vitriol has descended into the criminal is Wallasey on Merseyside, the constituency of Angela Eagle. Lewis Goodall went there to see what's been going on today and found echoes of struggles in that area reported on Newsnight in the past.
You wouldn't know it, but the Wirral on Merseyside is ground zero for the battle now raging for the soul of the Labour Party. And for many old hands in Labour in this part of the world, and maybe many Newsnight viewers, this may feel all too familiar. Newsnight was here in Wallasey 25 years ago, covering an emboldened local Labour Party who were trying to deselect their local Labour MP. Well, plus ça change, because it's happening all over again. Except this time, it isn't a local backbencher who can't guarantee the support of their own party members, but Angela Eagle, who, theoretically at least, could be leader of the Labour Party in just a few months' time. In standing against Jeremy Corbyn, Angela Eagle has incensed many of her own activists, including her own constituency chair.
She has done such strange things recently. For months we've had her coming to Wallasey Constituency Party telling us how she's doing and what she's doing and what the party's doing. And she has always shown, support for Jeremy. Right, there's been, oh, he's doing a good job. When asked about, the stuff about the referendum, oh, he's been running up and down the country like a 25-year-old. And then less than a week later, he hasn't shown any leadership qualities. That's a load of rubbish.
She said that she would work with any leader, any elected leader, and get behind him for the democratic right of our members. And on that basis, we supported her. So now she's contesting and saying that Jeremy is not a good leader, and she's contesting that leadership, and we feel hugely let down by Angela.
Cathy only joined the party with Jeremy Corbyn and less than a year later is chair of a CLP numbering over 1,200. For many involved with Momentum, this is part of a strategy, slowly building up strength on local party committees and consolidating that strength and influence across Labour nationally.
We do have a meeting on the 22nd of this month, and there will be motions debated at that meeting in which there will be a decision taken about who Wallasey CLP support in this leadership contest.
Cathy might be new, but this man certainly isn't. A quarter of a century ago, that Newsnight investigation focused on the attempt to deselect Birkenhead Labour MP Frank Field. The man who tried to unseat him? Paul Davis. He's back in the party and vice chair of Wallasey CLP.
There'll be 2 or 3 moves. There'll be a move to punish MPs. I accept that by some people. I don't think we should punish people. I think they should be prepared to take the same route they thought was fit for Jeremy Corbyn. He faced a vote of no confidence. They said he should resign. They then denigrated him for not resigning. So if an MP gets a vote of no confidence in their constituency, having said that, they should resign.
But today, the action against Angela Eagle went beyond mere threats of deselection. Sometime this morning, a brick was thrown into the window of her constituency office. The response on Facebook wasn't exactly friendly.
We didn't expect anything where they're going to start throwing things through the window, but we did know that the environment in which we were working was becoming increasingly hostile. I mean, my son had made sure I have a little alarm thing on my keys now because he's worried about me, especially when we do the surgeries with the MPs, you know.
In the wake of the murder of Joe Cox, many spoke of a kinder politics and new respect for MPs. Clearly, the author of this email, obtained by Newsnight, sent only today to Angela Eagle's office, didn't take it to heart. Some members of the local party say a culture of intimidation has gripped Labour across the Wirral. Councillor Moira McLaughlin is a veteran of the battles of the 1980s.
On the basis of what's happening at the moment and what happened here in Birkenhead 30 years ago, almost certainly there'll be an attempt to get rid of Angela, and also some of the councillors that support her. I would fully expect that to happen.
Well, within Wallasey, the tone of the meetings has been appalling. We've had threats of violence, homophobia, arguments between grown men and women, and now most recently today we've had an actual act of violence, a brick thrown through a window.
What sort of things have you heard at meetings?
Well, with homophobic comments aimed at Angela Eagle, who wasn't present at the meeting, homophobic gestures made towards people in the meeting at the mention of Angela's name. One lady at a recent meeting even threatened to punch somebody. And what really angers me is that this is a blatant contradiction of our own laws, our own values as members of the Labour Party. We should work together in spirit of solidarity, tolerance and respect.
Some say this is simply robust debate.
We're being asked to believe that amongst the councillors who were there, the trade union officials who were there, the people who supported Angela, the people that don't support Angela, not one person stood up to object to intimidation, or worse, to object to homophobia. Now, I would criticise anyone who heard a homophobic comment or saw a homophobic gesture at a meeting who didn't challenge it. I would...
Maybe they felt they couldn't. Maybe they felt they were intimidated.
You know, that's a good excuse, isn't it, you see, to say, I couldn't complain about the intimidation because I was intimidated.
Many would never have thought that the internecine battles of the 1980s would return to Merseyside. A vote of no confidence will take place in Angela Eagle in her constituency on the 22nd of July. One source on the CLP told me tonight that the momentum for that motion was unstoppable. If she's still a candidate for leader, what happens then, like much else in the Labour Party right now, is anyone's guess.
Lewis Goodall. Well, with me now is Angela Eagle, former Shadow Business Secretary, who's standing against Jeremy Corbyn for the leadership, as you probably realised by now. Hello, good evening.
Hi.
Just watching that, are you sure you're in the right party with those people?
I have been a Labour Party member for 40 years. I've dedicated my life to the Labour Party, and I will stay in the Labour Party whatever happens. What my leadership challenge is about is saving and reuniting the Labour Party so that it can be an effective opposition in Parliament, so that we can make our democracy work, and I hope heal our country and save it from perpetual Conservative governments.
OK, you said a lot in that answer. Firstly, you will remain in the Labour Party because there are those saying it's over, you cannot.
No, the Labour Party is my party. I was born into it.
Right.
There are people that have come back into it recently. You saw and heard from some of them in that piece. They were thrown out in the 1990s. They're back in, and you can see what they're doing. I have to stand up to that kind of bullying, and I will continue to stand up to it.
Now, if there's a motion of no confidence in you by your local party, you heard what the gentleman said. You
Paul
said to
Davis.
Corbyn, get out.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you've failed a motion of no confidence. Will you stand aside from that seat? I mean, what will you do if they deselect you?
Well, there's no question of me being deselected at the moment. What I'm doing is trying to say that the Labour Party was created to be the voice of working people in Parliament, to make certain that those who create the wealth in our country actually get a fair share of the opportunities and the income that comes from that wealth. That is the historic role of the Labour Party. To do that, you have to be effective in Parliament. I have tried to work with Jeremy for 9 months. He has lost the confidence of his parliamentary colleagues and cannot lead in Parliament. He is also failing to lead on the doorstep because he's not communicating or connecting with the 9 million people who voted Labour at the last election. And we have a duty as Labour Party members of Parliament to put that case to him.
Right, and I will get to all of that. I mean, we saw, you know, a brick thrown through your constituency office window.
Yes.
Do you think it is Labour Party members of any kind who are responsible for the violence, for the death threats, for the hate that we've seen?
There's a lot of hate, there's a lot of death. There were death threats, I've been told, tonight. There's a lot of vitriol. And I have to say that my office workers have to work in that environment, and you heard from one of them tonight. They're just trying to do their job. They shouldn't be subjected to this kind of approach. It's happening up and down the country.
Is it Jeremy Corbyn?
Bullying, and it should stop. And Jeremy should tell his supporters who are orchestrating this on social media to stop it.
Right, and you don't think he's done enough so far?
I don't think he's shown leadership there either.
Right. You've already said the Labour Party is your party.
Yes.
So we just have to face the possibility that you're not going to win the leadership election.
I am in
and
this...
Jeremy Corbyn will be there.
Listen,
now, what is going to happen? From your point of view, what happens?
I'm not going to speculate about what will happen if I lose. I'm in this leadership election to win it. We need to be an effective Labour Party going forward, which puts a compelling case to the British people that is an anti-Tory case. There are huge challenges following the Brexit vote. We've got to make certain that the effects of that Brexit vote aren't visited upon communities that have already suffered from Tory cuts and austerity.
I understand.
We've got to be effective.
Of course
We've got principles in the Labour Party. We have to put them into effect by contesting government, and that is the argument we're having in the party at the moment.
No, but I understand that. But look, let's suppose Theresa May calls a general election next spring. It's perfectly possible she'll decide to do that.
I expect there will be an early
general election. Would you be able to look in the eyes of the British public and say, vote for Jeremy Corbyn to be your Prime Minister?
Well, I hope we will.
Given everything you've said about it.
We are having a leadership election. I have joined in that leadership election to win it because I think Jeremy has opened up the party to new ideas. He's changed the direction of the party. He now needs to stand aside so other people can take this forward and communicate properly with Labour voters. And I would say to the 9 million Labour voters out there, there's 2 days next week when you can actually pay £25, help save the Labour Party, make our democracy work and help me heal our country. Join as a registered supporter.
Right, so you're literally urging the country to join to get Corbyn out.
That is precisely what I think should happen. Join us in this battle. Let us win the Labour Party back. For parliamentary democracy, we need people to persuade the country and speak to the country, not just protest.
It is £25 is quite expensive to get a vote.
I think it's a pretty good investment for the whole future of democracy.
If there was an election next spring or sooner, and Jeremy Corbyn was leader, how do you think Labour would do?
Well, I think the evidence, unfortunately, is clear. We are 8% behind in the polls in general now when we should be ahead. We lost seats in the local elections despite all our efforts. We've lost the referendum because the voters saw the ambiguity that Jeremy had during that referendum for the EU, and that is going to cause enormous damage. In the marginals, we are 14% behind. So we have to do something, and we have to do it quickly if we're going to prevent perpetual Conservative rule, which will damage our areas and damage the interests of Labour voters.
You have in the campaign so far, you've tried to downplay the policy differences between you and Jeremy Corbyn. You said it's not a left-right thing.
Well, I'm on the left. I didn't walk
that's
away.
Obviously people debate that.
I did not walk away last year when Jeremy was elected.
So
I tried to serve until it was impossible to carry on.
Why do you think then that the party under you will win when it will lose so badly under Jeremy Corbyn?
Look, I think you need a more effective communicator. I think you need somebody that actually reaches out to voters. Jeremy talks to people who don't really believe in parliamentary democracy. He is a protester. He's not a persuader of people. He has done a good thing by switching the way that the Labour Party works. Now we need somebody else to take it forwards.
Owen Smith, another candidate, potentially. We think he will throw his hat into the ring tomorrow or soon thereafter. It's not going to work so well for the Corbyn challengers if there are two of you fighting. Will you stand aside if he looks like the stronger of the two of you, the one most likely to beat Corbyn?
I think it's about time we had a woman leader of the Labour Party elected. We've now got the Conservatives on the second woman Prime Minister. We are the party of equality that has always worked in this agenda. It's about time that we had a woman leader.
So you won't stand aside. So basically you'll have two splits in the party, you versus Owen, and the two of you versus Corbyn.
I don't know whether Owen's going to stand, but I'm willing to have this debate in the full view of the party members. Now we're going to have a contest. I'm looking forward to it.
Which is more important to you, though, actually? This is an important question. Is it more important to you that you become the leader or that Jeremy Corbyn ceases to be the leader? Is it about stopping Corbyn or is it about you leading?
Well, I think I've got a good experience and leadership capabilities to take us forwards into this very, very different and challenging era. And that's the debate we're going to be having.
But let's be honest, it is about Corbyn, isn't it? It's about stopping Corbyn.
I think it's almost impossible for somebody who's lost the support of the vast majority of their parliamentary party to carry on as leader of the parliamentary party, which is the first part of the job description of the leader of the Labour Party. It's in clause 1 of our constitution.
There was a moment when I wondered whether you would make a pitch to the grief-stricken Remainers. There must be 60 million people voted for Remain. There must be 1 million who really feel very strongly about it, or 2 million, for them to come and support you. But you've been actually a little vague on the sort of Brexit plans you have, and so maybe they're not feeling like they're going to pay £25 to vote for you because you're not. I
think one of the policy differences between me and Jeremy, on the day after the referendum, Jeremy came out and said Article 50 should be triggered straight away. I think that would be a profound mistake. I think we have to be very careful in the way in which we begin to disentangle from the European Union, and we have to do it in a way which is least likely to hurt those communities I'm particularly concerned about, those poorer communities who have already been badly hit by Tory cuts.
People, some I would say more sympathetic to your side of this argument than Corbyn's, have looked at the result tonight at the NEC. They've said Corbyn is going to win. This is the death of the Labour Party as we know it. I wonder whether you look at that. You look at these members who are going to trying to get you deselected, confidence motion in you. You look at the violence internally, at the vitriol in the debate, and don't you wonder whether the marriage between this radical left and the establishment left is over? Do you never wonder that?
I think it's important that we take the broad base of the Labour Party with us. I don't think that some of the people that have joined and the way they're behaving is acceptable behaviour in British politics. It coarsens our democracy, and I think it needs to be called out for the bullying it is. I'm standing up to it. Everybody else needs to stand up to it. And I think Jeremy Corbyn needs to condemn it and stop it happening.
Angela Regal, thank you very much indeed.